We're at a pivotal point in the crypto market as Bitcoin continues to hover around $100,000, continuing to try to form a base. In today's video, I'll be telling you exactly what I think could be happening next in this market as we continue to see us hover above our key weekly invalidation level. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. First of all, taking a look at Bitcoin, you can see here that we are still holding above $98,000. Remember, if you've been watching me, 98K on the weekly time frame basis is my key invalidation for this bull market. So as long as we can continue to hold above there, I am still leaning on the side of actively looking for longs in the market. That being said, I did share some of my positions in my premium group, and my Bitcoin long closed out at break even after taking some profits. We caught some of the move around $100,000. We went all the way up to 104.5K, and then we got that initial rejection, which we talked about in yesterday's video. Right now, the only position that I currently have open is my Bitcoin dominance long trade. You're probably getting tired of me talking about this, but I will keep reiterating it here because with this market uncertainty, with Bitcoin chopping around the lows, I still think that Bitcoin dominance can continue to increase. And actually, as a matter of fact, I think it's highly likely that we go ahead and fill this wick on Bitcoin dominance. Just a reminder, if you want to join my community, you have the first link in my description down below. That's where I post all of my own personal trade setups, and you have to just DM me the word premium on Telegram, and I'd be happy to onboard you into my free premium group. You click this link and you get access to that group. I also have all of the exchanges down below. Bluffin, as you probably know by now, is my favorite because I can trade metrics such as Bitcoin dominance. And actually, right now they have a pretty solid campaign, 20% trading bonus cashback. That means you can get up to $500 in terms of futures bonuses based on your deposit. And this is limited to the first 100 users that go ahead and join. So make sure to click the second link in my description down below. Now, back to the chart. So you can see here, we're still above 98K on the weekly time frame basis, but I do not want to see us get those weekly closes below this level. I know a lot of people are getting tired here, but I'm telling you, the time to be bearish was naturally when we were at much higher valuations. You don't want to get bearish near the range lows just in case we end up moving higher from here. And to be perfectly clear, that is still my base case. On the shorter time frames here, what you can see for Bitcoin is that we got rejected at one of the key zones that we outlined in yesterday's video. And if I zoom in here on the hourly time frame and remove this box, you can see that as soon as we made it up to this little cluster here, right around $104,000 to $105,000, we made it to 104.5K, got rejected once more. It was looking a little bit promising because we were flipping this moving average, which was this green line on the chart, but you can see that now we're back testing it and getting rejected. And so I still think that Bitcoin is likely to chop around these regions, but from a risk to reward perspective, if you're looking for a swing long in this market, I think that it will stem from around this region. That is, of course, if we don't get the weekly invalidation below $98,000. Now, some of you have been asking me, what will I do if we go ahead and enter a bear market? So, first and foremost, as I shared on the channel, I did buy my Bitcoin from much lower levels, sub 30K. So if we start to get the weekly invalidation level closes below $98,000, I'm happy to sell some of my Bitcoin spot and continue to do so. Now, I sold some at $125,000, but it was only like 5 to 10% of my total spot portfolio. Nothing major. But right now at this point in time, I'm still holding out in preparation for a potential last leg of this bull market. You guys are probably going to get tired of me talking about this hypothetical last leg, but I have to be perfectly honest. That is still what I am looking for. It is not hopium. I am not a permabull. If you've been watching the channel, you know for a fact that I do also like shorting the market, and I actually make more money shorting in the bear market than I do longing in the bull market. And that's just a reminder, if you want to trade with me, you still have that first link in the description down below. I will be actively trading the market every single day, bullish or bearish. We can make money in this market. So what I'd like to see here, which we discussed yesterday and I also shared in my premium group, hitting these lows once more and actually getting those wicks below $98,000. If we can start to get those wicks and continue to close above and form a little bit of a double, maybe even triple bottom, that could be a very, very strong swing long in this market. In the shorter term here, outside of my Bitcoin dominance long trade, I may be taking some scalps here and there, but for the most part, I am not looking for swings until we can get better confirmation. You can see that we're now dropping back down to below $101,000. The sentiment is absolute dog shit at this point in time. Everyone is extremely fearful, and you can see this across social media, across these kinds of metrics, but I actually think that right now, Bitcoin is trying to form a base before potentially moving higher. Now, the real question, in my opinion, isn't are we going to have a bounce, but rather, would this bounce go ahead and set us up for new all-time highs? Either way, I would be taking profits on the way up should we go ahead and get this bounce. You know exactly what I'm looking for, and I update you here on a daily basis. I also wanted to show you the fact that some altcoins recently have actually popped off over the past 24 hours. You can see that Filecoin went up 61% in 24 hours. We also have ICP. This was one that a lot of people hold. Zcash, I mean, this one just continues to rip. Very, very interesting to see. I just wanted to show you this. I'm not allocated in any of these coins at this point in time, but you can see that from around these range lows, some altcoins are showing some sign of life. Now, I also wanted to bring this to your attention, the liquidation heat map. There is a lot of liquidity to the upside, but every single time that Bitcoin trickles down a little bit lower, we are starting to see a couple more longs pile into the market, despite the fact that we are at ultimate fear levels. So it's a little bit of conflicting signs here. I want you to understand that the moment we bounce is likely when most people don't think we will bounce. And on the one-day time frame, we're starting to see a little bit more liquidity coming in, trying to long this market. On the 30-day time frame, remember that in my past couple videos, I said I was pleasantly surprised that we weren't seeing big clusters to the downside. Well, right around this current price, you can see all the way down to sub 99K, we do have some more significant clusters. It would be absolutely phenomenal if we can go ahead and wipe out these clusters and then potentially move higher, because I think that if Bitcoin does end up getting some acceptance back below 100K, and it isn't just like a daily wick, people will get absolutely terrified and they will be extremely scared too long. Again, from a risk to reward perspective, I am still actively looking for longs in this market, and I have no issues because I'm a trader. So if we do get the confirmation that I need to confirm, hey, this is a bear market, my strategy will pivot completely to shorting relief rallies, as I've said time and time again. No stress, regardless of the market conditions, we can make some profits. Now, I also wanted to give you a quick update on the ETFs. Remember in yesterday's video, we talked about how we would start to probably see some inflows because we had such significant outflows. Well, yesterday we got 240 million worth of inflows for the Bitcoin spot ETF. And for Ethereum, we did finally see some inflows. So this is starting to look like we're trying to turn a corner as Bitcoin tries to establish a base between $98,000 to $100,000. I still think that we have a strong chance here to go ahead and move higher, and we should be getting a low relatively soon if this is to play out how I think it should. Now, I also wanted to show you this. Profit peaks at local tops and slowly declines until reaching neutral negative levels, usually signals the local bottom. And you can see this on the net realized profit chart for Bitcoin. Net profit is now at the lowest level since April of 2025. Remember when we had that massive capitulation event. If history repeats, expect a local bottom this month before making new all-time highs. I know that a lot of people are extremely bearish here. I totally get it. And most of you are probably frustrated because you're holding altcoins. That I also understand. But as you know, I've been a huge advocate for simply just holding Bitcoin, getting most of the upside while minimizing your downside risk in this market, in this quantitative tightening market, which, by the way, as we know, also ends on December 1st. But I still think we have a chance to go ahead and trickle on higher from here after Bitcoin goes ahead and forms a base. That is what I think we're currently seeing right now. I also wanted to show you this. President Trump did come out and say that he does have a backup plan if the Supreme Court rules against his tariffs, and the Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Murin says he expects another rate cut in December. And last thing I wanted to show you before I wrap up this video, the market looks neutral towards positive here. Stacked asks above price pulled, renewed buying around 100K again, passive chasing today during Asia's session. One lacking detail here though, and may not return till the US government reopens, is a Coinbase premium. We really want to see that Coinbase premium. Perps is indeed pretty choppy. This is what we've been seeing. So right now as Bitcoin just kind of flirts around this 98K to 102K region, I still think that there's a chance here that we go ahead and continue to form a base. Can we wick lower? Can we have an aggressive wick sub $98,000? Of course, but my invalidation remains the same. I simply do not want to see us start to get weekly closes below $98,000. And I will keep reiterating this. On the weekly time frame, we also want to see us reclaim a key level, which we have technically lost as I'm recording this video right now, and that is indeed the 50-week simple moving average. Usually in a bull market, as we discussed in yesterday's video, whenever we go ahead and lose the bull market support band, we manage to hold on to the 50-week simple moving average before going ahead and printing another leg higher. You can see this time and time again. This next week or so, in my opinion, will be pivotal because although we do manage to wick below it several times, we typically also don't get those weekly closes below this level. And so at the bare minimum here, I would like to see Bitcoin try to reclaim this level as fast as possible with, again, my number one invalidation, the weekly 98K level. And that sums up today's video. I think that from these levels, Bitcoin is really trying to form a base, but it was never going to be easy. Let's see how the weekly close pans out. I will of course be giving you an update on the weekend too, but the point is I don't think this is the time to turn max bearish until we get confirmations on a weekly time frame basis below $98,000. I am still actively looking for longs in this market so long as we can go ahead and reclaim key levels. I hope that makes sense. If you'd like to see how I'm currently trading this market in terms of leverage trading, you can see my bluffing tutorial right here. I hope you enjoyed the content and I will see you in the next video.